It's time for another edition of Mase in Your Face. Now, along with college football immortality, Glen Mason, here's Dan Barrero.
Questions already pouring in to the Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line at 64686 for this very special pre-Christmas edition of Mase in Your Face, brought to you by our good friends at Carry Limo. Welcome back. You made your sojourn to one of the great college football traditions, Army, Navy.
The best.
Everything
it was on my
cracked up to be?
It was on my bucket list. It far exceeded any expectations I ever had. It was great. I took it all in. It was quite a journey, here to Jersey, and then Amtrak, and then back to Jersey, and then flew home. And the only bad thing, though, Dan, how about this? My house got broken into while I was gone.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, I'm dead serious.
You didn't tell me that.
Well, I just saw you.
Well, no, but I figured that'd be. I figured you would have texted on that.
Here I am. I'm after the game, out to dinner with my West Point buddies, and I get an alert on my phone from ADT. That's who I have. That there's an alarm going off, and next thing I know, I thought, what? I get a phone call from the Minnetonka Police Department because and I can't say enough good things about the Minnetonka Police Department, the Sheriff's Office, and Hopkins, I'm in that area. They all rallied, and he called me, and he said there was a window broken.
Ooh. There
was a break-in. And I said, well, I'm out of town. I said, well, is there anybody? I said, I'll call my daughter and son-in-law, because they had to shore up the window. And but the alarm went off, and they fled.
Really?
And they left their ladder behind.
And took nothing?
Got nothing.
Wow.
Nothing.
That's tremendous.
The alarm went off. They fled. Police came, let a canine dog in the house to make sure nothing was going on. But they left the ladder. And I got all the video of the guys, They left the ladder with fingerprints.
How many of them were there?
I don't.
You're not supposed to get into those details?
Okay. Divulge it,
no, that's fine.
But the police were great. They really didn't get. I got to replace a window, but I'm lucky.
You're very fortunate
that I had it on. And
how about all the celebrities? Big time NFL players, NBA players, a couple of Timberwolves getting their homes robbed. Yeah.
So I think what happens, the information that I got is because right away I thought, that Dan Barrero said I was going to be out of town. Right? No. What they do is they ride around and they look to see if there's an Amazon picture or newspaper, which I had an Amazon thing there. Then if you come back the next day, it's still there. They go,
something's up.
The guy's not home.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, that's I dodged a bullet.
You did.
One broken window. That's pretty good. It didn't ruin my trip one bit. I had a great trip. I got to see my sister, and I got the greatest sister in the world. I mean, she's so good to me. I don't deserve it.
No.
I know that. But
Lord knows you don't.
She's very good. But how about this? So I go there, and I told you these people that I know, he's a West Point grad, and they had 2 sets of twins at West Point at the same time.
Wow.
How's that? And they get me invited to a party on Friday night, a class of 88 West Pointers. Took over an Irish bar. So it's going to be good. So I walk in. As soon as I walk in, I hear, Mase in Your Face. I said, it can't be. Well, anyway, there was a guy there, a West Pointer. He was a major in the Army, and he lives in Bloomington. Now, I don't like to mention names. I don't want to do that.
No, you've never been a name dropper. So Lord knows.
Let's just call this guy David Summerness from Bloomington.
Okay.
But we had an absolute blast at show. The only problem at that show, at that event that night, walking around, I'm a man of the people, so I'm talking to everybody, and they said, where are you from? And I said, well, I'm from Minnesota. Governor Wall's not a big hit with this group.
Oh, is that this group was not big fans?
No, the whole story, which I don't know what it is, his Army Reserve.
Yes, right, yes.
They don't look
what job he had.
And Sergeant Major Walls.
Right.
They don't look too kindly.
So they took it out on you.
Well, a little bit.
Sort of, yes.
They wanted to know if I voted for him.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
I said, well, that's
privileged information.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, but he's not favorite. And then the next day, I went early. I wanted to take it all in. I went to the tailgate. They have these tailgates there. And I guess the way they run, you pay money. They have all different kinds of for foundations for fallen soldiers. They raise money for fallen soldiers. So you have this deal, then you get the food and the beer and everything. But it really dawned on me. I thought, it's there's something wrong in this country, Dan, when you have to raise money like that for fallen soldiers, which is so desperately needed. And we give billions away to other countries. The last one I saw, the president went down to Angola and all of a sudden just gave him $1 billion. How come that if we can do that we as a nation, as a government with the resources, don't take care of them? Why do these people have to raise all this money?
It's an ongoing challenge and a good question that a lot of people have asked, because there's certainly a lot of visibility about it. And I think a lot of individuals and groups try to help.
You
but
have Tunnels of Tower, you have Falls of Honor, which I go to. I mean, there's a lot. I see the advertisement on TV all the time. But we as a country, if you can't take care of these people, there's a problem.
Who can we take care of?
Is this the official Mase for Wayzata mayor unveiling speech? I mean, are you announcing today?
What town?
Wayzata.
I'm not a resident of Wayzata.
You can be the mayor of Wayzata without being a resident, as I understand.
We should probably check that.
I'm going with it. I'm sure they would
Sounds like you've got your talking points.
Yeah, you've got a couple of them down.
I'm a very opinionated guy. And,
is that right?
I like to speak my piece sometimes.
Tell me about the John F. Kennedy suite.
Oh, that was a little fictitious there, But anyway, I was staying at the Willard Hotel. I mean, this is
fancy.
Oh, high down, a block from the White House. It's been around forever, and they have the place there. They call it, I think, the Round Bar. It's a little deal. It's hard to get into. And back in the day, a lot of deals, were cut there. But
sure.
It's just a great hotel. So I was checking in, and it's high dollar. I know it because it cost me a lot of money to stay there. You
stayed for free. You kidding?
No, I didn't. No.
The whole trip was paid for.
And I got off the elevator, and right there standing is the John F. Kennedy suite, And I very sheepishly checked my room number. It wasn't it.
Was not it, huh?
Thought about going down and complaining, but I didn't think
you sent us a video, though.
We had to take a little video
in front of that room. I hope there wasn't anybody in the room wondering what the hell's going on.
Well, I knocked on the door because if they were home, which they weren't, I was going to say, can I go? I wanted a full thing. I wanted to really make it good, showing Gary Hone and I standing outside and walking in the suite to get
been impressive.
But no one was there.
That would have been impressive. Is that where is that the spot? One of the spots where JFK brought some of his gals? Do we know? Is that? Well,
I don't know because a couple people said, "Well, show us the inside," and I said, "Well, Marilyn's taking a nap."
Yeah. Among others, for sure. All right, how about the game?
Even
the scene at the game.
The game was secondary to everything that took place. So these cadets, if you can imagine that, on both the midshipmen and the cadets, they stood outside in what I would call the bullpen for about an hour and a half in this holding area. And then I went in early. Not a lot of people go in early. And Guardsy would tell you that, for the march on. They march on, and it's spectacular. They come in all the, I don't know what you would call, all the groups. They fill up the whole football field, and it's just West Point. And then they give a little chant, and they march off. And then Navy does the same thing. I can tell you this, and I have no skin in the game. Army marching on, much more impressive than Navy. I mean, their lines were perfect. They were straight. They were unbelievable.
Maybe it's a rebuilding year for Navy.
I don't know. I kind of think maybe Navy's trying to simulate that they're on a boat and they're rocking back and forth. Yeah. I don't know, but. And then, so you warm up, and
then shaky,
the national anthem, which was great, and the flyover, which was, and I've been to State of the Flyover, but first came the helicopters, whatever they are. I don't know the name of it. But they were so low that you couldn't see them coming. All of a sudden they were there. It was like startling. And after they went over, same thing with the jets. You couldn't see them. They were coming, but you couldn't even hear them. They must have been almost at lower than the stadium and just got up and went over.
Maybe they were cloaked.
Yeah, I don't know. And then obviously President-elect Trump was there, and when they showed his picture, people went crazy. And he was with J.D. Vance and Elon Musk and
the whole group, the whole cabal.
Yeah, the whole group. So,
well, it doesn't sound like you want to talk about the game at all.
Well, it was secondary. Army did not play
great
well.
Performance by Navy.
Navy played great. Momentum, we discussed on the show, is a big thing. And
not according to P.J. Fleck.
I know that, but I say momentum's a big thing. And that first drive, when Navy had it, and they had third and long, and they ran a screenplay, which to perfection, it was great. And I went a long distance. They went in to score. Army couldn't do anything, and then they ran the fake punt to the defensive tackle.
How about that? And he just rumbled.
And they fumbled the ball at the end, but
he did. That's true. They did recover,
but he didn't lose it. But I can tell you, it's a fierce rivalry. But the respect of the two, you can just feel it.
No flag plantings at the 50.
And then after the game's over, the team that loses sings first. Team that wins sings second, which is, you want to sing second, I guess. But everybody there, it seems like either has Army gear on or Navy gear. But people, they all feel like they play for the same team, the United States of America.
The idea.
Which is great.
Which is outstanding. All right, let's get our first pause in. I got a couple more questions from Army-Navy Weekend. A lot of good questions coming in from Mase via the text line as well. Kessler will join us at about 5:30. Don't go. Mase, you got a lot of text coming in responding to the first segment. Some people are not happy with you. Others are delighted. Example. Wow. Never once have we turned off Barrera when Mase was the guest, but Mase made the discussion political.
Are you
for absolutely no reason?
Why was it political?
You had to rip the governor of the great state of Minnesota.
I was saying I was getting ripped.
You were observing.
I was getting ripped.
Okay. I'm just reading them.
Coach to coach, too, Mase. I mean, you never rip coaches.
That's right. He's a coach.
No, what was I got to be accurate. Right?
Where was the other one, though? That you'll like this one better. And yes, we are going to get to the drones. Just give me time. There's plenty of time.
Maybe because I said Trump. Maybe I said Trump was there. What was they supposed to say? But Trump was there, so they booed. I mean, they cheered.
Well, you were just reporting.
I'm
right. You're following the story, is what we like to call it. Where did it go? There was another one that was very positive. That wanted to. No, that wasn't it. I can't find it. No, here's one. Never been a bigger fan of Mase than today. So my guess is that's a righty who is aroused.
It should be a righty.
By what you said.
Now, let me tell you something. Let me go on record.
Okay.
I view myself, and I mean this sincerely, I view myself not as a Republican, not as a Democrat.
As an independent?
Right, I'm an American.
Oh, okay.
And one of the things I say all the time, one of the big problems, I'm going to say a political thing right now, this straight line voting by both sides, I don't understand. Because the Democrats can't be right and the Republicans wrong, and vice versa all the time. There's got to be someone say, that's a good idea, or you're wrong. And that straight line thing, I don't quite understand that.
Don't hide, Mase. Tell Minneapolis that you're a Trumper. That's from 651 guy. And then here's another one. This is ripping me. Wow. It took you 1/10 of a second to cut off Mase when he mentioned Trump's name. We get it. You hate him. But that was MSNBC-esque. I mean, people. Well, you're getting a sample of what we deal with every day here. The degree to which people project what they want to project. Did I stop you from saying what you said? It's just bizarre. This one might get you going too. This is from St. Louis Park. This is James. Why do we insist on glorifying the military? Shouldn't we be striving for peace at all costs? The biggest kid on the playground sets the tone. We have the power to make real global change, Mase.
Yeah.
Just saying. I'm just reading them.
I know it.
You're just listening.
Yeah.
You're just listening.
That's like people, let me tell you, that's like people that don't like the police until they need a cop.
Yeah.
And then they want to know where the cop is at.
Mase 2026.
I'm just telling you.
I can see it.
I like to call I don't know. I was, one of the things I've been reading. You ever read the book Travels with Charlie?
I have not.
Oh, it's great. And it kind of reminded me about my travels with my dog on the deal. But one of the parts of the book was the guy was saying that someplace he was, and this is back in the 60s, he's doing it. And some people wanted to blame the Russians for everything, True. And in other words, hey, my eggs didn't get delivered today.
Yes, right.
Those damn Russians, I mean, he was observing. He wasn't saying right, wrong, or saying in this part of the country.
He was musing about it.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand.
So, hey, come on, it's almost Christmas. Let's be positive. Huh?
Okay. Well, what do you want to be positive about? Well, be positive for me. Can my Hoosiers be?
All right, let me just say this, okay, before I forget. I'm going to tell you a story.
Okay.
Today, is
this butt cleavage related?
Well, I couldn't give that.
We'll save that later.
But
later, as it turns out, Mase has a butt cleavage story.
My dog people.
Thank God.
As fate would have it.
My dog people.
Yes.
In the morning, I've got a group.
Yes.
I'm kind of the commissioner.
No surprise there.
Well, today at 6:15, somebody brought up that one of the women there, Carol, tired school teacher, was her birthday.
Oh,
so
nice.
in the dark, I laid him and happy birthday. And I got a lot of talent. Singing is not one of them. And it brought up a memory. I told them the story. They thought, and this is absolutely true. My worst birthday ever, Dan, was my 40th birthday. I was coaching in Kansas, and I came to spring practice, and I came home. We had dinner, and then my wife at the time, she said, I got to go get something. I got to run some errands, whatever. And my son, Pat, said, hey, Dad, how about shooting some baskets in the driveway with me? So I said, sure. So I shooting baskets out there, and a car pulls up, then another car pulls up. I'm looking, I'm saying, what's going on? These people are getting out of the car, and they're saying, they're walking into my house. I look at my son, I said, what's going on? I don't know. Well, my wife, she was throwing me a secret, what do you call it? Surprise party. 40th birthday.
Yeah.
But she's not there. So now people are going to the house, and I'm trying, and these are the, Lawrence, small town, these are the right people.
Yes.
President of the university, big donor. And so I'm going in now, I don't know what's going on, and I'm trying to be the host. We don't even have a beer in the house, and there's no food. And I mean, this is...
Well, where's your wife?
I don't have any idea where she is, okay? So finally, she shows up late, house is full, and now the caterer shows up. And so I don't want to rip her in front of everybody. I'll figure I'll wait till later on. But now everybody's having a good time. They got food, their drinks, so it's easing up pretty good. My coaches were there, and there's a ring at the doorbell, and there's a stripper.
Oh, okay? No.
Yeah. And anyway, one of my coaches, Pat Rule,
thought he was going to be in clever.
Oh, he thinks he's funny.
Yeah.
He has a stripper come in, okay? And she starts, no, wait. And this is not the crowd you want.
Did they put you like in a chair and then she danced around you? How'd that go?
I wouldn't sit in the chair. I was, because I wanted to be in striking distance of this assistant coach. Okay,
yeah.
And people are looking at me like, what? And anyway, when that night was over, still to this day, it was so traumatic. My 40th birthday party.
So it didn't go anywhere, because you want to think it's going to be a great memory, and it ends up being
terrible,
traumatic.
It's terrible.
Now, is this your first wife or second wife?
This would be the first one.
Oh, okay. We're clarifying. Yeah. I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah, you like to do that. Yeah.
Is that why the first one ended?
That's kind of personal stuff.
No, that's true.
I get ripped for mentioning that someone got on walls, and you're getting after me about my... It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that would be very uncomfortable. So... did the stripper, did she kind of pick up the vibe and say, I'm going to get out of here early? Or was it sort of like, did she go through all of her dance?
I think when she looked at me, and I wasn't smiling, but I was
she got the message?
Sweating profusely that she got the idea, and so did my assistant coach.
Yeah,
so.
that is, I could see where that'd be a little bit unseemly.
Yeah, it was,
especially at a university.
What are you thinking?
What are you supposed to do?
I had a little talk with him. What are you thinking?
And what did he say?
Well, I thought
he's going to be funny, having fun. Boys will be boys.
I said, no.
I don't blame you. So Indiana, so the playoffs start this weekend.
Yeah.
The fan has learned. The only Friday game, I think it's the Friday night primetime game. It's Indiana at Notre Dame. I looked up the forecast, which I think is supposed to be like flurries and pretty cold.
Yeah.
Like a high of 33 that day, but a low of 23 that night, and 17-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
Not that far off the lake. You can get some Clipper effect there.
But they're playing Indiana.
They're playing Indiana, exactly it. So does my team have a chance?
I think they do. I think that, every once in a while you have those Cinderella-type seasons. And who knows? I mean, maybe they've already had that Cinderella-type season. But, I don't know. I really haven't had a chance to play. I know their quarterback is, pretty good, and they got a good dynamics, and Cignetti's really got them going. I said, I think they got the raw and the stick because the game should be at Indiana. Anyway,
very few other people have said that.
I know the guy last week says, "Oh no, Indiana's schedule was higher rated until Indiana played Ohio State." Well, they played Ohio State. What are we talking about? But it's obvious, and I said this before. The reason the TV people, when you're going, and I mean this, if this is okay to say this, when you're college athletics and you get third-party people in running, giving you money, and they're going to run your business, you got problems. And TV, all the money that they give for everything, the normal year, and now the playoffs, when you prostitute yourself like that and take the money, they're going to tell you what to do. They're going to dictate where you're going to play. And, there's a lot of people going to turn that TV on. There's a reason why the NFL purposely tries to schedule late season games in outdoor stadiums, because all the snowboarders down south, they like to turn on the TV, and watch it. So I don't know. And then, the next day you got SMU. Now it's a day game playing at Penn State. But I would have to think that typically the weather in State College, Pennsylvania,
pretty chilly this time of year.
End of December.
Right.
Yeah. It's, and then you've got Tennessee at Ohio State prime time. Now, who do you think dictated those times? Now, I really think, remember we heard it first, if the weather is really bad and there's enough complaining, and maybe if there's not enough complaining, someone's going to say, this doesn't work, these home games. That first round, rather than home games, we're going to have to put them out on bid to southern stadiums.
To Florida and California.
And dome stadiums,
Right. Yeah.
And then those towns, those cities will have to bid for those. And again, there's more money.
And I think, and I get it, money, you dance to the money tune. That's the way it works. But I honestly do think you lose something. One of the things I'm looking forward to with all of these games is that they are played. Now, again, I tend to agree with you. I think it should probably be Bloomington, Indiana. Wherever it's going to be played, it's a home college arena. I like that. I think that's going to add a lot of flavor this weekend. Do you not?
I absolutely agree with you. And the thing about it, it doesn't put the burden on the fans again.
Correct. That's also true.
And the thing about it is, if you don't watch out, you have what you have in the NCAA basketball tournament, where those people start having to travel all over the place, and then it becomes a corporate event, not a fan event. So let's just say that Ohio State, rather than playing a home game against Tennessee this week, they were playing in the Jerry Dome down in Dallas, and let's say they win that one. And then now they start the whole bowl thing again. I mean, it's great. And the tickets are expensive.
Yeah, they are. And they're going to get more expensive as time goes on. That's for sure. Bottom of the hour pause. Mason, your face with us for the rest of this hour. A couple of other interesting texts that are not all that controversial that I think you might be interested in answering. And we'll get into some of the other matchups and some other things that might be stuck in Mace's cross. Stay tuned.
Time now for the Vikings Report on The Fan, presented by Miller Lite. Vikings safety Cam Bynum joins Barrero next after this from Miller Lite.
Mace, are you offended by, which school was it that basically completely the players opted out of their bowl?
Marshall.
They said, Marshall, we're out.
Marshall.
I think their coach left, and they said, we're done. We're out of this thing. Are you mad at him, or do you think, all's
here's
fair now?
I'm mad at. I'm mad at, and I'm going to say this respectfully, the idiots that have made the decisions of what's going on in college football, because it's broke. I'm telling you, it's shot. This, and they only got themselves to blame because everybody was getting rich forever, except the players. You can't be getting with the players. But this transfer,
you had coaches were the only ones getting rich.
Coaches have never had a vote on anything making rules. Believe me when I tell you that. Okay, and what it is right now, and the best way I can explain it, if you could imagine the National Football League, if every player in the National Football League was a free agent and there was no salary cap. I mean, and now you see what's happening. I mean, the whole team, which is unheard of. I don't know what was, they had to cancel their bowl game. They're supposed to play West Point, and they got out of it. But you see, I think there's the other day, probably more now, 2,000 players in the portal. 2,000. I saw where the Gophers, their right tackle, says he's going to go to Ohio State now, and at the portal, I assume he's not going to play in the bowl game. I don't know. And I'll make a prediction, and I haven't heard this, but their left tackle is an All-American that's supposed to get a first-round pick. I predict he won't play in the bowl game. I'm telling you, guards might know, but the agent's going to say, why would you play in this? You get in this bowl game, you get hurt. It's going to hurt you. You can't help yourself. He will not play. And then what's going to happen down the road, maybe it's already happening, as this progresses, and now you get to the championship game, all right? And the star player says, or his agent, because they all have agents now, says to the coach, unless you up the ante, I'm not playing tomorrow night. Or a bunch of them get together collectively. We're not going to play. You know how much money is this? It is an absolute disaster. And I don't know what's going to happen. You know what happens all the time? They keep changing these rules, and then the coaches have to deal with it. And so right now, the collateral damage, as far as I'm concerned, is high school kids. If I was still coaching, the high school recruiting, we used to really work and go all the you wouldn't do that. You're going to look at the portal first. Look at a guy that's already been out of college, played a little bit. You got some film against a guy playing college football or whatever. Take that guy. And then what happens is let those high school kids that normally would go to a Big Ten school, they go to a Mid-American school or go some other place. Let them play for you. When they get good, go steal it from that guy. It's terrible. Philip
Daniels is the offensive tackle you're referring to, who entered his name into the portal and then has already landed at Ohio State. In fact, I think he's an Ohio kid, Cincinnati, Princeton High School
I think his cousin
graduate.
Or something played it.
And he was going to be a mainstay next year for sure.
So I don't know this. Let's say Ohio State, they said, you know what, we're not sure about that guy. We're not going to recruit him. So Minnesota recruits him. Yeah. And he goes and he plays, and they say, you know what, he's better than we thought. Yeah. Let's go get him.
That's the trend. So I was kidding you. There's a bowl game on right now. They're in commercial break on ESPN, I think the Boca Raton Bowl. So given what we know about the expanded college football playoff and the portal, and now an entire team opting out of playing, I don't remember what bowl that was, but it's a secondary bowl. Are the bowl games that aren't directly related to the national championship, are they less meaningful than they ever were before?
Absolutely.
I mean, is it almost, I mean, we know why they're played, but does anybody care about them?
No, I think the only thing, if you're not part of that 12-team college football playoff and whatever they play in, who cares? I mean, it's just filler. Now, TV needs filler.
Yes, right.
They got to put something on TV. That's an easy thing to put on. And if you're not into watching soap operas and all that stuff, and you're addicted to watching TV, I probably watched. I hate to say this, I watched less. I know I did less college football this year than I have in my entire life, because I'm turned off by the whole situation.
Well, that's disappointing to us because you're on every week. Yeah. We count on you and your expertise.
Yeah, well,
I mean, that's what we count on.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't going to be us. It's got to be you. Yeah. You're the former coach. Speaking of that,
I'm the expertise on what's going on.
Well, just ask yourself. So I think I've asked you this before, but it's been a while. Somebody said, "Look, did Mase ever flirt with the concept, even maybe before you became a head coach in college, of going to the pro game as a coach?"
No, I had an opportunity. I was an assistant coach at Ohio State. And I got contacted about going to the Cowboys as a special teams coach.
No kidding.
Yeah. And
Were you tempted?
No, not at all.
Why not?
I was at Ohio State. I was at the place as an assistant coach that I thought I'd never end up. I was a college guy.
Pro football royalty.
I loved college football.
Tom Landry, Tex Schramm. Roger Staubach. Come on.
Obviously,
Drew
you
Pearson.
don't think you didn't agree with my decision.
Well, it's intriguing to think about if you'd taken a different fork in the road. I mean, who knows? Maybe you would have come back anyway to college at some point, because a lot of times people go back and forth. But it is interesting to hear.
No,
So what year would this have been? Do you remember, or about?
It had to be early 80s.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, like 80, 81, I guess. And, it was crazy. Back in especially assistant coach, we worked like and didn't make any money.
Right.
I mean, we really didn't. If you didn't have a passion for what you did,
right,
you couldn't justify it anyway. But if you didn't have a passion, you wouldn't do it. And so would
that have been Landry? 81
had to be,
right? Yeah, he would have been okay. Yeah. Interesting. But you didn't even go for an interview. You just said, no, I'm fine where I'm at. No. I'm fine on the track I took. Yeah. And obviously it worked out fine for you.
The guy that called me was Gil Brandt.
Gil Brandt, yes. I remember. I knew him well back in Dallas days.
And he called me and he said, Tom's looking, and I liked it, but I wanted to check with you first, because I said, thanks, but I really
here's what's amazing about that. So you think it was about early 80s. Mm-hmm. I was in Dallas, 81 to 86. I could have been covering you. We could have been buddies back then.
Yeah.
We would have had a better understanding then, long before you became a head coach.
Yeah. Well, you know what would happen if I would have known that, and then things would have changed.
Yeah.
And the Minnesota job came open, and I knew you were up here. I wouldn't have come.
You wouldn't have come. I know. That's what I figured. Speaking of pro football, so big news on Kirk Cousins. He gets demoted yesterday. That was announced. He spoke to the reporters today, tried to keep the stiff upper lip. Hard to feel sorry for him. He's fine. He's not hurting, right? Financially, he's in incredibly good shape. But we were reminded how quickly things change in the National Football League. I guess maybe at any level in football. A year ago, he's having a great season until he gets hurt. This year, early November, they're 6-3. He's got 3 or 4 good games in a row, and they're feeling pretty good about the move then. And since then, obviously, they've lost most of their games. He's been close to awful. It just tells you, man, it's a thin line, right? Even if you think you've attained some success between success and failure, and now he's probably done in Atlanta, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, it's a short walk from the penthouse to the outhouse, I can tell you that. And I think that's true. And, when I was a big fan of Cousins when he was at Michigan State for a variety of reasons. He turned out to be a better pro player than I ever would have thought, just covering him. And when he was playing, their inability to get to the next level, I always thought it wasn't his fault. I thought the offensive line wasn't very good, or the defense let down, or a variety of things. But I didn't think he was the missing piece to the puzzle for the Vikings to get to the next level. And I haven't watched Kirk Cousins. I knew he was having a rough year. He's throwing a lot of interceptions. And at the same time, Darnold's having an all-pro type year,
right?
With the Vikings. So it's kind of the double whammy. But he had a good career, and sometimes being the backup quarterback, if they keep him, they probably can't keep him as a backup with the amount of money he's making. But those guys that are the backup quarterback in the NFL for a long, long, long time, make a lot of money and stay healthy. That's a pretty good job.
Very good job. So what would you advise the Vikings to do on Darnold? You know what the plan originally has been.
Yeah.
We're going to turn the thing over after 1 year to JJ.
I don't know how you could do that right now. And I say it because he's playing awfully well. He's a seasoned NFL player, not all good, but right now he is. And I've always maintained that these quarterbacks, these hotshot coming out of college, that first-round picks, they're a crapshoot. You don't know.
You don't.
I mean, you look at the success of the quarterbacks that have been picked in the first round. I don't know what the success rate is, but it's not very good. And so he looks like if he can keep playing the way he's been playing, I don't know how you could let him go. If you'd let him go and J.J. McCarthy was a bust, oh, my God, how foolish that would look.
Well,
it'd be in the same category as the Giants.
That's right.
You let Barkley go, and you keep the quarterback, and then a couple weeks later you let the quarterback go, and then you see how Barkley's playing for Philadelphia.
Unbelievable.
Hey, do you see what the Eagles are worth now?
No.
It's like I read it the other day. It's like they're now worth $8.2 billion. $8.2 billion. Yeah.
You should have invested a long time ago. Minority ownership.
Yeah, you got to raise those hot dog prices.
God,
raise the beer prices a little bit.
Pro football is still king. I know you hate it, Mase, compared to college.
I'm liking it better now, and I'll tell you one of the reasons why. You watch the game, the games keep moving. I can't believe how fast an NFL game goes. They get them done in less than 3 hours.
That's the beauty
I watch
of it.
them and say, "Oh my God, the first quarter's done." They don't bore you to death with all these commercials nonstop in college football. I don't know what the equivalent is, but you can fall asleep like watching paint dry watching these college games.
Yeah, it's I think one of the reasons the sport, as you say, is so popular. We know it's one game a week. We know it's going to be 3 hours, maybe 3:05, but it's not going to be 4 hours, right? You're going to get in, you're going to get out.
You can't because the next game's going to start.
Next game's going to start.
They're even smart, even to the place where overtime.
Yes,
even that's regular season. What is it? 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
And after 10 minutes, it's in a tie.
Yeah,
it's got to get on to the next game.
Move on with the rest of your life. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir on Darnold. I think again, you don't have to make a decision today. That's the beauty of it. You can see how it plays out, given that they're going to finish with 3 good games against 3 good teams, and then even the postseason. But it has to be in the back of your mind. You have to start reconsidering. And I think the key to your point about, what McCarthy's going to be. Look, I think he's got a chance. I think they think he's got a chance to be pretty damn good. But I think what happens for people
hold on a second.
Yeah. They
think that? Well, they got to say that. If you draft the guy first.
Yes.
What are you going to say? Excuse me, Wilfs, we made a mistake.
Yeah. Well, but what I'm referring to is people I trust behind the scenes and the basis of what they've seen. But there's a big but.
Who's that? Who's they?
There's sources.
Who's they?
But there's a big but here, to your point, and that is there is no guarantee. But beyond that, I think why fans get enticed by, well, no, he's going to be great, is he's got no warts right now, because he hadn't played. And so you tend to project the best of what a player can be. It's just like when you have the difference between having a number 1 draft choice and a name attached to it sometimes is, once there's a name and you got some film on him, you go, well, actually, he does this well, but this not so well. But if it's the number 1 pick, before that, he's going to be perfect and he's always going to work out. And they don't always work out. And that's why you have to factor in what Darnold has done and put it in the back of your mind that we may have to alter the plan. The plan seemed like genius because there's no money in a rookie quarterback contract, but you can't simply ignore a 27-year-old quarterback maybe figuring it out, right? He was drafted high for a reason, Mase. He was considered, like J.J. McCarthy, extremely talented, probably more talented, actually, because bigger guy, big arm, right? Darnold's got a big arm. So you absolutely have to factor this in, even if it means J.J.'s got to sit for another season, if he continues to perform at this level.
Well, here's the other problem. And I never coached in the National Football League.
Well, you could have.
So I have to hedge this a little bit. But anyway, one of the things, typically the best quarterbacks coming out of college play for the best teams. They have the best talent around them. And a lot of times in college, you see these guys, you watch them, they never get hit. They're back there. They have all the time in the world, especially, to throw the football. When I watch pro football, man, those guys are under duress like you can't.
How about Caleb Williams last week?
You can't believe.
Yeah.
Sometimes some guys can deal with that, and some guys, can't. You go back, I remember I was doing a game for the Big Ten Network, and I happened to have Utah State against Wisconsin. Utah State could have won that game, but anyway, and they had Jordan Love. And I remember talking to him. I think right in the show, I said, this guy, I don't even know who the heck he is. In my estimate, he was better than any quarterback in the Big Ten. He was really good, and I wasn't surprised that he got tripped. But he's playing real well now. But they've seasoned him. They didn't throw him right out there right away.
Well, there's a famous KOC comment. I think I heard it during the Monday night broadcast on the TV side, where KOC said, in his opinion, when it comes to first-round quarterback prospects coming in, he said, organizations tend to fail these young quarterbacks more often than the quarterbacks fail the organization. And it was him saying, we don't do, in a lot of cases, a very good job of bringing them along, being patient with them, helping them get through the downside. And I think there's some wisdom to that. What do you think?
I agree 100%. That's what I'm saying. I think it's a rare guy. I don't care how talented he is. They can go from college at the quarterback position
and just slip right in.
And there's exceptions, but sometimes you just see them. I mean, the pressure they're under and the talent on the defense that they have to see with the defensive linemen and the secondary, and the throws that they're expected to make.
Yes.
I see the throws in college and pros that they make, and I'm thinking as college, I'd be saying to the guy, you don't throw it in there. It's a little window that they have to get in.
And often, if you're taken high, you're going to bad teams, right? You're going to teams that where the infrastructure is not in place to the degree that it is here, for example, or maybe Green Bay or a couple other spots.
See, the key word you just said there is team.
Yeah.
There's 10 other guys out there, and the better those other 10 guys are, the better you're going to be as a quarterback.
Do you have your Christmas shopping done yet? Christmas is a week from today. You know that.
Well,
right?
You know what? I'll tell you. I become kind of a one-stop shopper.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And I'll tell you, a great place that I go.
Amazon.com?
No. It's for people that I like. I put them on a list, and you're not on that list.
Yeah, well, Gargi and I never get anything
I tell
from
you where I go. There's a place out in Wayzata, Highcroft, that's run by a very lovely lady, Molly McDonald.
Did she give you some deals?
No. Oh. Maybe after I'd mentioned the name.
Maybe
but
now.
Anyway,
yeah.
I mean, it's special. It's it's expensive, but it's if you want to impress somebody with a gift, like
clothing.
No, it's more like sheets and linens and stuff for home.
Right.
For someone
home
like
goods kind of a thing.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that I've ever given that man, do I get a thank you?
You get a nice response.
Yeah. Yep.
So you just get it all done at Highcroft?
Not all of it.
Well, a lot of it.
Not all of it. Just
is it done?
No, I haven't gone yet.
Well, like I said, it's a week away.
Well, I got lots of time.
So now next, I don't think we're doing a show with you next Wednesday because Christmas we're off. Is that okay with
next
you?
Wednesday, Christmas?
Yeah, it's a week from today.
Wow.
The 25th.
You better get to Highcroft.
Today's the 18th. They might be sold out already.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah. You're kind of a Scrooge-like guy,
No,
aren't you?
I'm not.
You're not? You enjoy the Christmas season, the holiday season?
I do.
You get into it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My big thing is Christmas Eve. Have the people over, and I have my family, but I have some other people over. I don't think anybody should have to spend Christmas alone.
Very generous of you.
So if someone, they come over, and I have Christmas Eve, and then because my grandkids go home and all that stuff. And
here's the ultimate test to that theory.
Don't do it.
If Joel McSorley calls you and says, look, the family's out of town, I got nowhere to go, Mase, can I come over to your house?
Yeah, sure.
You sure it wasn't Missouri that tried to break in?
I wish people could see your face when you said sure, because the sure seemed a little bit insincere.
Why?
In fact, your face is getting red as we talk about this. And he would also say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to deliver that TV we still owe you.
Yeah.
Then it's a definite, right?
I wonder what happened to that TV.
We all do.
I'm pretty sure the people were trying to deliver it to your house at Army Navy.
That is my TV.
Gargi kind of knew where I was going. You kind of knew where I was going.
I knew there was only one road.
There's only one guy.
There was only one road.
It's the ultimate test for the Christmas season, is it not?
Well, no, there's a couple people in my past that get probably put on the last that might, you never know.
Really?
Yeah.
At a different plateau.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah.
So the plan is we'll reconvene here on, the next Wednesday is Jan 1, right?
We'll figure out a day to get
We'll
Mason
figure
here.
out someday, but yeah, you could be almost done.
Yeah, but I'm going to say again, okay? Mm-hmm. On this air, in front of everybody, I've issued...
Oh, here we go again. The Churchill
invitations,
rule.
and not once have you said, hey, does this day work? Does that day work? I mean, I'm offended.
We'll get it done in early...
I'm really offended.
I'm sure, I can tell.
It's my New Year's resolution.
Early in 2024. Yeah, we'll get to it.
Hey, I got to mention, because during the... I saw your advertisement for an oral surgeon, Kirby Johnson. Mm-hmm. He's the best. And I'm going to tell you, I talked about my daughter, face plant, bad shape. Who came to the rescue?
Yeah.
Unbelievable job. Kirby Johnson.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Maybe you get something out of that too. I don't know.
Well, no, I don't want a face plant. No,
you don't want that, but maybe a kickback of some sort. Who's to say?
Yeah, that's a real reward. I get a free trip to the dentist.
There you go. Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Yeah.
And we'll see you on the other side. We'll figure out something on the schedule soon.
Ho, ho, ho.
Well stated. You and have you ever done a Santa outfit?
I have.
You have done
Of course, I can see that.
I used to do it when on the ball games Christmas time.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I used to have some fun with it.
Yeah.
I'd bring the staff up and,
the stripper from your forehead.
I was wondering about the stripper. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
No.
I'm a little worried about that.
People are going to need a podcast to get caught up if they don't know
Mrs.
what
Claus
we're talking
wouldn't
about.
like that, I don't think.
Bringing
in a stripper for the holiday season. That's not the way to go. Thanks for coming in, as always.
Thank you.
Mason, your face.
Merry Christmas.
Same to you. Kessler, bottom of the hour, is already here. I think he got here about 2. What do you have for top 5, a mini version?
How did Kirk Cousins react to the news that he has been demoted?
You wake up, put on your Ray-Ban Meta glasses. You're living all in. You realize you need coffee. So you say,
hey, Meta, how do I make a latte?
Brew 2 shots of espresso.
After Meta AI gets you caffeinated, you're ready for some beats.
Hey, Meta, play hip-hop music.
You head to meet some friends, but can't remember the place.
Hey, Meta, call Eva.
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, the next generation of AI glasses. Just say, hey, Meta, to harness the power of Meta AI. Shop now at meta.com/smartglasses.